friends, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Dee. I'm a Seint beauty artist and a lover of all things beauty. And here on my channel, I talk about a variety of different things, mostly related to skincare, makeup, some mid-size fashion and lifestyle stuff. But mostly I talk about beauty stuff. So today I am gonna kind of be talking about the transition from summer to fall. Fall is my favorite time of the year. I absolutely love fall, not only for the crisp weather, but then also the colors are rich and vibrant. I went to go into my sweater collection and I have all grays and whites and I'm like, this isn't fall at all. I need some like rich, deep browns and like some oranges and stuff like that. So I got some shopping to do, but I just grabbed this because I figured it is not screaming pink, at least it's a neutral color. But I am starting to transition my makeup routine into more of a summer to fall look. And what the biggest changes for me is in the summertime, less was more. I was wearing less. And really just focusing on bronzing and not contouring. So I was taking this color right here, Cedar, and using it as like a combo of contour and bronzing. Now that it's still 100 something degrees outside, I don't care. I am doing everything fall because hopefully if I start wearing the sweaters and start putting up the decorations and start changing, the things that I do, maybe fall will come sooner rather than later. I don't know, it's worth a try. But I wanna take you through my makeup routine of what I do for that transition, mainly around contour and bronzing and kind of what I do for that. I have not contoured my face in months, so it's gonna be interesting. The first thing, I always start off with skincare. I use Mary Kay. I'll put everything down below if you're interested in what I use. And I have been doing the, I don't know how to say it, ILIA, skin tint, super serum skin tint with SPF 40 in it. This has been my base. Usually I do the Jaclyn Hill or Jaclyn Cosmetics oil primer, but since using this ILIA, it just kind of helps with color correcting so I don't have to color correct as much. So I have a very, my dogs are in the background, so you're gonna hear them because they're monsters. But I have a very light tint on my face right now. So the first thing that I'm gonna do, y'all, I have to clean my brushes. I keep telling myself that I'm going to clean my brushes one day and it's not happening. But I'm gonna take the blend brush and this end right here is what I use for color correcting. Lord, look at this. What? Get out. Get out. I'm doing a video, leave me alone. So the one thing I like about the blend brush, perfect for color correcting because it doesn't grab a lot of product. So usually I use this side for my color correcting, my Aspen or June, and then I switch over to this side to do my dark eye circles. So I am taking the color, I think this is R01, no, this is 03. I'm just gonna take these out. This is 03. And basically what I'm doing, I'm using a lot of product here and I realize that, and with Demi you really don't have to, but I'm using it almost as a color corrector and a brightener because I don't really use a brightener shade under my eyes. So I'm just taking this and just sweeping it through, but I'm not like dabbing my brush really hard into the product because I don't want a lot of product. And then I take my makeup sponge here and I am just making sure that there's no harsh lines. And you can see just right out of the gate how much it brightens the area. So that is 03. The other thing, I usually use Demi, the Demi R01. This is the second color that I use. And you can see this one, the R01, is just a slightly more pink and slightly brighter. But what I have been doing, and something that you guys can do too, is doing Palace. So Palace is the newest highlight shade. It is supposed to be a main highlight, but it is very fair. I can actually get away with it if I mix it with my normal main highlight shade Candlelit, and it does really create a really pretty color. But for this intents and purposes of the video, I'm just going to use it as a brightener shade. So I'm gonna go in all over and kind of use it as my brightening highlight like I normally would. Now, if you do a color match, I'm gonna suggest two colors. I'm gonna suggest a main highlight shade, which is going to be the main part of your face, but then I'm gonna suggest a highlight shade, and I really like this one because it has just a slight pink in it. So you can see there how much it brightens up that area. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my next eye, and then we'll go to the next segment. Both eyes are done, and you can see here I still have a little bit of this. It's not really pigment, it's my under eye bag. So what I normally do is after I do all my makeup, I will go in and just put product right there to almost make it seem as though there's an even plane. So, because it's not actual pigment, it's just a shadow from my actual bag. So I like to do that last because I'm not layering on product after product. So the next thing is, will you go away? Why do you have to do that in here? Come on, let's go out, come on. The next thing is I am actually running out of my Candlelit. So this is my main highlight shade that I normally use. And I'm like running super, super low. So I'm gonna show you how I kind of mix things. Because sometimes, one thing about Seint is when you do colors, there's actually a lot of different colors, not a lot. There are several colors that might actually work for you. This is the color Aurora, and you can see here it is much more yellow than the Candlelit. That is not my undertone at all. But if I mix it, and actually I'm not gonna mix this one because this truly isn't my undertone. I'm actually gonna mix it with June. So you can see here, June has this like greenish kind of undertone. I can't wear this per se as a main highlight shade, but when I mix these, it actually comes out okay. For my skin, when I do Aspen for color correcting, for my redness, it does not look good on me. It looks very muddy. I use June. Now, 99% of the people use Aspen. So if you're not sure what color to pick up, I would say pick up Aspen. What I'm gonna do, the easiest ways to do this, especially with mixing colors, is I'm just going to apply it, and I'm actually gonna keep the June color in the middle of my face because that's where my most redness is. So I want it to kind of act as a color correcting. Then I'm gonna take my Candlelit, kind of dig my finger in, and I'm going to put it around the rest of the areas. Now I do put it under my eyes, even though I have that palace shade, but I have a very, very light palace shade. Now this is not like the one layer method. If I was doing the one layer method, I would just do the rest of my face, contouring and bronzing and all that stuff. But I do want a little bit more coverage because I feel like going into fall, you just wear a little bit more coverage. Like it's the weather is a little bit, you know, cooler, and you can get away with a little bit more like makeup on your skin. Not that I'm putting a lot of makeup. This is very, very thin layer, but I just feel like I like to have more of that full coverage look and less of that like dewy, glowy kind of look. So this is the 3D foundation brush that I'm using. This is my favorite brush and the one that I recommend everybody who's starting out because it is so versatile. No matter what you're doing on your face, this brush can do it. It can get up in here, it can do bronzing, it can do contour, it can do your main highlight, it can do your brightening, it can even do your cheek color. So you don't have to buy all these different brushes to make it work. You can literally just buy that one. Now the other thing that I always do is I keep a sponge next to me. This is the Real Techniques sponge, I don't know what it's called, but this is my favorite one, more than the Seint one, more than the Beauty Blender. This one is super, super affordable. It's super dense, and in my opinion, it works better than the other ones, and it's cheaper. So why not go with cheaper when it's better? Now, the other thing that I do is I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my bronzing shade next. There are a little bit of the areas like around my nose and my chin that I want to add a little bit more coverage, but I do that after because then I can use the main highlight shade to correct any like bronzing that went crazy or contour that went crazy. So the next thing I'm gonna do is take my Bella bronzer. You guys can see like this is well loved. And there's two different ways that you can apply the bronzer. You can dab it like this and put it on your face, or you can dab a little bit with your fingers and then put it where you want to. It's completely up to you. The whole point of bronzer is to brighten your face. So, or not brighten, to warm up your face. So I'm not going to be like super precise with it, but I'm focusing on kind of the high points on my face. I like to bring it down on my neck because my neck is lighter than my face. So I use my bronzer to kind of brighten up my neck and make it a little bit more of the same color, so I don't have this like drastic like bronze look and then like stark white, because I am stark white. It has, this is the blush and bronzer brush. So it does have this bigger brush that you could do bigger areas. So I can go on my chest and then just make sure that it's all blended out. So you can see here, it's warm, it's good. You still want to do bronzer in wintertime, even though everything's cool and whatever, you still want to add warmth and vibrancy to your face. It's going to give you life. Contour is not going to give you life. So I go in next with my contour. And the reason why I do my bronzer first and then my contour second is my bronzer, I'm gonna be messy about it. I'm messing it all about. If I do my contour first, it's going to blend out my contour, and my contour, I want to be very strategic when I place it. My bronzer, I can be a little bit more whatever, but my contour, there's like strategy things. So I don't want to put it on before my bronzer and then metal it up. So I like to do my contour second. And basically what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put it up here. Now I don't have a, very large forehead. I guess it is a little bit large, but I like to put it up here and kind of blend out into my hairline so that there's the consistency there and there's a little bit of a shadow. I also like to take it right here and put some to give myself cheekbones, because I ain't got no cheekbones. I got some heart-shaped something going on here. Should I just go here? I like to use my finger for this because then I can strategically place it exactly where I want. So I'm starting here and I'm going down here. I like to put it here. I saw J-Lo do this, and if J-Lo did it, then it's good. But basically right here, regardless if you're skinny or not, you have this little flappy thing right here. I mean, it is what it is. So I like to camouflage that a little bit. The whole point of contour is creating shadows, and that's why I like to do it second, so I can be strategic. Now, this is where I like the 3D foundation brush, because I can go in there and it blends out. Now with my contour, with my main highlight shade, I'm pressing. With my contour shade, I'm actually kind of pulling it. And then here I'm pressing because I want it to stay where it's at. I don't necessarily want my contour to move because I put it exactly where I need it to go. So I'm just bouncing it into my skin. And the same right here, I'm bouncing it into my hairline and strategically where I want it to go. So I don't want to pull and go crazy with it. I'm just bouncing and pushing. And I just like pushing it up into my hairline because sometimes you can get like this where my scalp is super white because it doesn't really see anything. And then you have your contour and it's like you have this white line. So that's where I like to like really push it into my hairline so it's consistent. I still look like a hot mess. Like I feel like people look at this and they're like, oh my gosh, this doesn't look that great. But once you start putting on eye makeup and cheek color and stuff like that, it just really comes together. Now here, I didn't really do a good job of pushing this in, so I'm just gonna spend a little bit more time and go like that. Just making sure that it's blended out and there's no harsh lines. See there, illusion of a little bit of a cheekbone. Okay. So next, what I'm gonna do is, like I mentioned before, I want a little bit more coverage in my nose area and my cheek area because those are where I'm most red. So all I do is I take my beauty sponge and I'm just lightly dabbing it and putting it there. And I'm really, really pressing it in. I like this to do this step, the very last, but I like doing it with my beauty sponge because it picks up just the right amount of product and it helps to blend and push it in. If I go in with my brush sometimes, my brush leaves brush marks and I have to do this anyway. So I find that this is like the most natural way to strategically place it in the areas that I want to. Now, I have a little bit more right here, right in that trough, I think it's called. I don't even know. So I'm gonna go down here and I'm just going to very gently, I don't want to use a lot of product, but I'm just creating the illusion that this is all one plane. And I have like, a lot of my dark eye circles aren't really dark eye circles, it's veins. I like have a big old vein right here. So it is what it is. I don't go crazy with it because, hey, I got veins, like everybody has veins, but I do like to somewhat camouflage it a little bit more. So that is that. After that, I go in with my cheek color, and this is the color Plum. So this color looks super, super scary, and sometimes when I recommend it to people, they're like, I don't think so. It blends out so beautifully. So this is one of our satin shades, so you don't want to go too crazy with it. I just put a little bit here. But one thing that I love about cream products is if I go too crazy with it, I can always fix it. So I'm taking it here and I'm just buffing into my skin, and look how pretty it buffs out. It is very, very natural. So for us fair girls, this is a really natural kind of flush look, and one thing that I always recommend if you're looking for something a little bit more natural, like if you want something more boom in your face, then like Hollywood or Baby Watermelon, those pinky shades will be more up your alley. But this is Plum, and it is super, super natural. Gives a very natural flush look. So don't necessarily look at the pan, and you can always tone it down. Like here, I went a little bit too crazy up here. All I'm doing is taking my beauty sponge and I'm buffing it out, and that way it creates and like sucks up the extra product. If you go too crazy with it, it looks too clown. All you do is take this and sponge it on top, and it will pick up the excess product and tone it down. So that's what I like about the cream products is if you're somebody who doesn't, or you struggle with makeup, you don't really know what you're doing, these cream products are the easiest to work with because they're pretty much dummy proof. You can fix them. When you go in with liquid foundation, you go in with powders, you can't fix it. You go too crazy with blush and you're putting powder on top of it, you're gonna have cake face, you're gonna look really fake. Here, you go in, you just pat this, and it picks up the excess product, and you look natural, and you look glowy, and it's super easy, and you're not pulling everything else off. So that's what I like about the cream makeup is it really is very, very easy. And I hate to use the word dummy proof because that sounds bad, but I just feel like there's books and stuff like that, like more people resonate with them. So this video is gonna be like 30 hours long. So next, what I'm gonna do is I'm taking my beauty sponge and I am setting my makeup. So I like to do it this way, spraying it on my sponge and then going in because I don't wanna spray it on my makeup because I don't get it all in my hair. So with cream makeup, you always wanna set it because it's not gonna set itself. It's different than liquid foundation. Liquid foundation dries down, cream foundation doesn't. So it's going to sit on your face unless you set it. So you can set it either with a setting spray like I did if you're more dry like me. More normal dry, I would say setting spray is the best. If you are oily, then you definitely want to go in with a loose powder or some kind of powder to set it, and then that way it's locked in, and it will help mattify the product. You can see here, I'm not very mattified. I have some glowy here. That's natural with the makeup. It is very glowy, but one way you can tone it down is you can use loose powder or pressed powder, and you can mattify it and it'll be good.